them. They just needed to walk along with him. But they broke that. They didn't do that. They started worshiping other gods. They started following other sort of things, and they started disregarding God. And he says, okay, so I need a new covenant. The old covenant that I made with them isn't good enough. I do it for you. You walk with me. That's not good enough. We're going to have to make a new covenant. So this, verse 33, this is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel after that time, declares the Lord. I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts, and I will be their God, and they will be my people. No longer will a man teach his neighbor or a man his brother, saying, know the Lord, because they will all know me, from the least of them to the greatest, declares the Lord. And here it is. For I will forgive their wickedness and will remember their sins no more. The difference between the old covenant and the new covenant is that God's going to forgive. It stays the same. God's going to do all this stuff for you. Now he's going to go a little deeper. He's going to write the law actually in our hearts. He's going to actually speak into our hearts. He's going to do that on the inside of who we are. From the inside out, as the song says, he's going to do that on the inside of us, okay? But that's not only the part that's new. The part that's new is that now when people walk away, he's got a plan B. Plan B is, I'm going to forgive them. He's going to write his law in their hearts, and then it doesn't even say, I expect them to walk away, but it's under there. He says, I will forgive them and cleanse them. See, the old covenant was, God's going to do it all for you. Just walk. The new covenant, God takes away the just phrase. He's going to do it all for you. Period. If you flip all the way to 1 Corinthians 11. We come to the last passage for this morning. Paul is writing a letter to the church in Corinth, and he's reminding them of the most important thing. He says this, for I received from the Lord what I also passed on to you. The Lord Jesus, on the night he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, this is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me. In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, this cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it in remembrance of me. For whenever you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. Jesus says, this new covenant is found in me. He says this new covenant is found by my blood being poured out for you. See, with Abram, he had to find an animal and cut it. And those animals bled all over the place, and that blood would be right there in the middle where he would walk. But he's the one who cut it. And he didn't have to cut himself, he cut the animals. But Jesus says this new covenant is going to come from my blood spilling on the ground for you. You don't have to pass through this. I passed through it. You don't have to shed your blood. I shed my blood. You don't have to do anything. I'm just going to come here and stand in front of you and say, this is the time. The message of God is getting ready to be written on your hearts if you choose to receive that. And I'm going to do everything for you. I'm going to shed my own blood. I'm going to offer you forgiveness, and this is the new covenant. So, we come down to this idea that Jesus made the new covenant, and all we have to do is drink. He hands this cup to his disciples, and he says, drink this in remembrance of me. Abram had to cut something. The Israelites had to walk somewhere. Jesus says, all I want you to do is drink it. That's pretty easy. In our church, we don't even have cups. You don't have to drink anything. You just have to dip it. That's even easier. So Jesus says to his disciples, this is my blood, new covenant for you. I just want you to let it in. I just want you to let it come in. I'll do all the work for you, just let it in. I think so many times we miss this idea that Jesus really, really, really wants to just give to us his life. He doesn't expect us to muster it up for ourselves. He just wants to give us his life. He shed his blood. He offers forgiveness. He gives us himself to be written on our hearts on the inside and to flow out from there. Friends, I don't know where you are today. I don't know which one of these commitments might be the most meaningful to you. But I want to let you know that wherever you are, God in heaven says, I want to just do it for you. Open your heart up and receive it. If you've been worried for a long time that you're not good enough for God, he says, who's telling you that? I never said that. Open your heart up and receive what Jesus has done for you. For some of you, you've never made that commitment before, and today could be that day, that first time for you to say, God, I know I can't really offer you anything. I knew I should have walked, but I didn't. I knew I should have made a sacrifice of some kind, but I didn't. But Lord, now I know that all I really need to do is just receive. And if you're in that place today, I encourage you right where you are right now, just simply say, God, I love you and I give you my life, and I just want to receive what you're offering to me, that forgiveness. Because the message of the Bible comes down to this. Here's your last blank to fill in. The message of the Bible is the one-sided covenant God is making with you through Jesus. The one-sided covenant God is making with you through Jesus. Just receive it. Just receive it. Yeah, we're doing some things today that symbolize commitment. When we eat the bread with the juice, what we're doing is we're saying, I'm committed. I'm remembering Jesus. Like I said, if you're ready to say today that I'm committed to Jesus, then you can participate in the bread and the juice. Don't feel any obligation. We're going to have Pastor Reggie and also Dave Hines. They're going to be on either side here ready to pray for you if you need someone to pray for you. And I just encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity when we get to that. Maybe the book is your moment of commitment. But listen, it's not about the book signing. It's not about the eating or anything like that. It's not even about the baptism. It's about God doing something in you. In fact, that's what the baptism symbolizes. And so let me introduce what baptism is all about. You ladies, go ahead and come on back here and get ready. We've got a little video clip we're going to show here of their story. But Sarah and Jennifer are saying, I recognize that God has done this for me, and so I just want to receive it. And baptism does that. It's a symbol of a person's